26, indeed. 4 females in the party. Roll a d10 for the race. 1. Ooh, a Dwarf. And what kind of Dwarf do we have? Also 1. We have a Hill Dwarf. Faster. Make Dwarf faster. Oh, this will be like an anime, right? We just hear a bunch of clicking noises and the mouse is going everywhere. It just zooms in on my eyes and just... You can click into something off screen here. We can even make it more authentic if I'm tapping into it, right? So we have this going, and you're just getting this. Oh, this is a silly night. This could be Knight Rider 2. Take a potato chip and I'll eat it. Dark Wolf, true story. We have a certain game with triangles at work, which is the cheapest game. So when people ask if we have a one-token game, I do the hand triangle while describing it and give directions. All right, so now I've hacked into the Dwarf frame here. Let's make sure we're not getting any redundant stuff into the mic projecting from the earphones, which, by the way, is kind of a test. They haven't gone beep boop and shut down and then come back on, only to go beep boop and shut down again. All right, well, nobody tell Bubonic One that we didn't roll into a Dragonborn tonight. Alignment's going to be 2 percentiles for each of the axes. 45 and 80. This is going to be good and chaotic good. Interesting mix. Very interesting. Next up, we're going to roll percentile 1 to determine which level the character is going to be. 79! Ooh, we have kind of a higher level adventure going on here. Look at this. A level 13. And another percentile. Will she use feats? Yes, she will. She will. She will. Now, he only, when Bubonic ended up redoing this, he only just said, is it stat gains or feats? I had it split up into 1 if able, 2 if able, 3 if able, and this goes into the 3 if able. Now, as she is level 13, stat bump 1, stat bump 2, stat bump 3. She's still going to hold on to our original stats, but we're going to be able to give her 3 feet. This is feats. In arcade games, I'm definitely part of the Illuminati, says Dark Wolf. Yep, she works in an arcade. Caboose, hey, welcome back. It's good to have you here again. We are going fast today. Not really, but I mean, you know, we got the chase music on. I'm dressed a little bit. My Sonic hat is going a little bit off screen even. So, but anyway, welcome back. We're rolling up a level 13 Hill Dwarf something, and in fact, we're going to get to that real quick, like, hit this golden button that's going to determine which class she is. Bink, 7. Number 7 is, ooh, Paladin. Paladin. And we're going to get 2 options to go along with her. We're going to get her fighting style on a D4 and her oath on a D3. Let's roll her fighting style here. Her fighting style is number 2. Dueling. Ooh, a dueling paladin. Okay. And we have a paladin. Kind of like an Aladdin. And her oath is going to be a D3. Come down here, make that a 3. Hit roll, and number 1. Oath number 1 is the Oath of Devotion. Bada boom. There we go. Good progress so far. Now for her background, where we have a 3, we're going to make that into a 13. Hit roll. She's going to be background number 10. She is a sage. And which kind of a sage? We shall see on a D6. Because sages do get an origin. There are 6 different origins or other categories or beginnings, however you want to define it. So let's roll 1d6 for that. Oh man, Dark Wolf, thank you so much for the host. Number 6. Next up, we need 2d8 for her personality traits. That's going to be an 8 and a 1. And lastly, we're going to change this to a 3 and roll 3d6 for her ideals, bonds, and flaws. 1, 4, 1. We did it. Just a little bit more. Here is the Hill Dwarf line. We're starting at 3'8", and we're going to add 2d4 inches. We're going to add 3 inches to her. So she is going to be a whopping 3'11" tall. Now we're going to take this same number, 3, that we just rolled. We're going to multiply it by 2d6 and add that to her base weight of 115. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 115 is 120. Almost on the home stretch of the randomization. Remember, we're creating this silhouette of a character, and then we're going to fill her in as we define what the numbers mean, and we sort of pull her from the mists of nothingness into some, you know, sonic weird hybrid creature. Percentile die, we're going to roll it. 57. She is going to be an adult for a dwarf. So let's put that here. Remember, at home, you don't really have to determine this kind of an age band. As you're going to have a better mindset for your character and how you want to play him or her. We do that here because this is it's a good way to help shape her personality. And even if it's a tiebreaker on deciding one thing or the other, well, if we know that she's an adult instead of a young adult instead of a child prodigy, that can make some differences. Pardon me. All right. We have dwarves here. Okay. So adult was number 3. So there's our dwarf. Here's column 3. And this is going to be a 1d50 to determine where they're starting, right? Because they're between 100, like adulthood, not just young adulthood, not like legal adulthood, but we're talking a little bit more mature of an adulthood before you hit middle age. We have this tiered as 1 to 150. So we're going to change this to a 50-sided die and add this to 101, with 1 being 101. All right. She is 128 years old. You don't think you can handle the song? All right. Well, we've had our chase. We've had our intenseness going through things. Now we can settle a bit into this. We have a paladin now. She is. Oh, we're gonna visit a dwarven city. Here we go. There you go. Yeah, if the music ever gets to any of you too, let me know. I don't always have it on or too audible, and a lot of times I'm you know, I'm working on this or doing a voice or interacting with you directly. So if something's getting on, you know, getting under your skin or something along those lines, let me know. If the volume on something is too low or high, you're not going to break my heart. You're helping me. Okay. Goodbye. We don't need you anymore. Here's our handy dandy player's handbook. And instead of scrolling through all this, we are going to come over here to chapter 4. Start with Sage. And remember, we do that because the background's going to give us some other things that, hey, could you do it race and class? Yeah. But you're more locked into what the background's giving you than what your race is, and especially your class. So here we go, alphabetically listed. Here's Sage. You spent years learning the lore of the multiverse. You scoured manuscripts, studied scrolls, and listened to the greatest experts on the subjects that interest you. Your efforts have made you a master in your field of study. We get Arcana and History. We are also going to get 2 languages of our choice. Let's see, she's a dwarf, so she gets Common and Dwarven already, and then we're going to give her 2 others. Black ink, quill, a small kniff. Now, this is kind of a placeholder. Does every sage have a letter from a dead colleague posing a question you have yet to be able to answer? Compelling letter. How about that? Common clothes. And a belt pouch with 10 guppas. There we go. Now, as a sage, what was our specialty? Oh, you know what? It was actually, looks like Bobicus might have cut a little short here. We only rolled a d6. That's researcher. Otherwise, a wizard apprentice or scribe. Gnomish, halfling, or infernal. I would be likely to agree, Dark Wolf, given the races that are in the region. Though don't forget Elven. Elven is a possibility as well. I'm kind of tempted here to just re-roll the 6. Was it only listed as that, or did I derp out? It could have just been me. Sage. Oh no, so you had it there as a d6. I'm going to re-roll this as a 1d8. That way all the options are available to us. And so, she's actually going to be a 1. Ooh, an Alchemist. Okay. There we go. Her background feature is that of a researcher. There we go. When you attempt to learn or recall a piece of lore, if you do not know that information, you often know where and from whom you can obtain it. Usually this information comes from a library, a scriptorium, university, or a sage or other learned person or creature. Your DM might rule that the knowledge you seek is secreted away in a most inaccessible place, or that it simply cannot be found. Unearthing the deepest desire or the deepest secrets of the multiverse can require an adventure or even a whole campaign. Ah, yes. Very nice. Hooks. Good stuff for us as DMs. Nom 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 nom. Give me these hooks. Give me these plot lines. What's compelling your character? Nom 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 nom. Come on, give it. Bobicus is saying the music is a little loud. Let's try this. How about that? And how about that? I did have to, as I did a reset on the computer, it might have forgot the volume. That's good? Yeah, nice. Thank you for your input, Bobicus. Her personality traits. This is what we have. 8. I'm convinced that people are always trying to steal my secrets. Ooh. And 1, I use polysyllabic words that convey the impression of great erudition. Her ideal is 1. Knowledge. Whoops. The path to power and self-improvement is through knowledge. Her bond is number 4. My life's work is a series of tomes related to a specific field of lore. Ooh, and she's a paladin. Oh, I think we can do some fun stuff with this. And her flaw, as we are all flawed creatures, is number 1. I am easily distracted by the promise of information. All right. I think we can give our paladin here like a nice high int score. That would be a lot of fun. It'll be interesting because she's a Dwarf also. All right, so there's our background. Let's go up to races. Dwarves. This is what we have. Remember, we get 25 speed. We're not small, but we're right on the border. We increase our constitution by 2. And we also get dark vision, 60 feet. We do get dwarven resilience. I totally misspelled that. Which is extra interesting because we're resistant to poison, and by being a paladin, we are going to be immune to disease. And so she's going to be just this hardy tank, just kind of hanging in there. Dwarven. Oh, so the combat training we've just reflected down below, though I don't think we really have to because paladins should have access to all simple and martial weapon training. So that would be a little redundant. Now, if we were a dwarven wizard, that would be different because we'd want to know that we have access to those weapons. And we will get, well, here. So here's stone cunning. We do need to put that down. We gain proficiency with the artisan's tools of our choice. Smith tools, brewer supplies, or mason's tools. Let's see. So she was a sage alchemist. I almost want to say we could give her proficiency with brewer's tools, as that would make... It's not an alchemy set, but maybe she's practicing, organic alchemy. Maybe she's good at making potions and she's finding a way to kind of weave that in. Okay, common and Darwin. Hill dwarves get +1 to wisdom. And we also have dwarven toughness, which is going to give us an extra hit point at each level. And that can stack up. Especially if you go a dwarven dragon sorcerer, a hill dwarf specifically, you get 1 point every level for being a hill dwarf, 1 point every level for being the dragon blood sorcerer, and then if you just go a high con sorcerer, you're just a magic... Yeah, you're face tanking, but you're a magic tank. You're an HP tank. Hey, Storm. Yep, that's Sonic Hat. Alright, we're going to put this away here and just make a little note that she's going to get an extra 13 hit points from where she starts. Classes, let's go down to our Paladin over here. She is 13th level. So here we go. Look at all this fun stuff we're going to get. (1d10), so she's going to be at 13d10 hit die. Lots of innate recovery, but that's your role. You got to be on the front line and take a couple lumps. And we do get all armor and shields. And weapons, we get simple and martial. No tool proficiencies. Wisdom and charisma are our saving throw proficiencies. High con with tough dwarven toughness and draconic ancestry. Yeah, that's So you would just be this like really like thick sorcerer, and you just, you know, hit me. Maybe you even take a spell like Hellish Rebuke because you want them to hit you, so you can hit them back on a reaction, and then hit them again with a spell on your turn. So literal fireball whiskey. Hey, yeah, you know, she's making. She might say it's a waste of good alcohol, but you know, she's making fireball whiskey. She's making some, you know, some Molotovs kind of a thing. I cast Fist at 9th level. Yes. Okay, we get to choose 2 from Athletics, Insight, Intimidation, Medicine, Persuasion, and Religion. Now, she does have the Sage background, so I actually think we can create a fun Intelligence Paladin. Now, should Wisdom be forgotten? No, I don't believe so. But I don't know. I think that'd be something. It's something interesting, right? So she has this alchemist background. I'm convinced that people are always trying to steal my secrets. I use polysyllabic words that convey the impression of great erudition. She seeks the path to power and self-improvement is through knowledge. And my life's work is a series of tomes related to a specific field of lore, which is probably we can probably tie into her background up here. So I think intelligence is important for her to have. I'm easily distracted by the promise of information as well. So how does that personality bleed into the skills that are available to us? You all are, if you want to make a case for taking one or the other, you know, is athletics her thing? And she will have strength. I don't know. Insight, maybe, but if she's also convinced that people are trying to steal her secrets, I don't think she's really interested in trying to determine if people are or aren't. She's just in this defensive position that she just thinks that's all the time. Intimidation, I could see something like that. Medicine, I think we're on a good track with medicine, right? If she's studying alchemy and she's studying, you know, she makes alcohol. You know, there's a fine line between poison and medicine. Often it's just in the amount of the dosage. Athletics and deception. Deception itself isn't available. I kind of get what you're going for, Storm, but maybe, yeah. What if we went medicine and religion, right? If she's a smarty, and we want to try and play up her intelligence, then maybe giving her, you know, a religion skill would be good. Although, persuasion, I don't know if she's really out to persuade anyone. She seems to me kind of this, I just want to learn and consume information. So are you saying yeah to medicine and religion, Storm? Like this? Okay, cool. I mean, look, because she also has Arcana and History, so we want to make do with this, in some sense. All right, now she's going to get a martial weapon of some kind and a shield, or 2 martial weapons. And now she's going to get the dueling fighting style. This says when you're wielding a melee weapon in one hand and no other weapons, you gain a +2 bonus to damage rolls with that weapon. That means she can go sword and board because the shield isn't a weapon. So if she's wielding a 5 guys cup that's like +1, she's gonna get an extra 2 damage, even though she has a shield up. Oh, a spear and shield fighter? That could be very interesting. We could do something along those lines. So what we'll do is we will give her martial spear. We can do something like that. We're going to give her a shield. There we go. We will give her 5 javelins or any simple melee weapon. That's a good question. Although I think we should give her the priest's pack. That way she can actually she can conduct these ceremonial rituals, these meditations on her notes and things along those lines. I have the cure for what ails you. And then chainmail. Und a holy symbol. Five Guys Cup, cast wall of peanuts, one a day. Yep. I actually, whenever I go there, I take a one of their cardboard little, Scooby-Doos, and I fill it with peanuts to bring home because we have some squirrels that live in the tree by the house, and I'll put the peanuts out for the squirrels, and they like it. So, do we want the 5 javelins, or do we want any simple melee weapon? I'm thinking maybe give her a ranged. A Brynja? What is a Brynja? Yeah, she does get a chain. She does get chainmail. Okay, her class is going to give her some things. She's a diving sense. That'll come in handy in Mesomasca here. She is going to get divine sense. This is kind of like a detect evil kind of a thing. So, is there a bad guy around? Is the kind of super condensed version of what that means. You also get lay on hands, and that's a pool of like energy that you can draw on to cancel effects of things or to restore hit points. Oh, Brynja is a Norse chain shirt. Cool. I like learning those terms. We have our fighting style of dueling, and we'll just put +2 damage. Okay, spell casting. I'm going to come back to spells. We'll do that later. We are going to get Divine Smite, Divine Smith. If we gave her the smithing tools, right? Pardon. Divine Smite, Divine Health. Okay, our Sacred Oath is that of Devotion. We will get Oath spells, and we will get a Channel Divinity. Ability score improvements are not going to come into play because all 3 of hers, as we randomly rolled, are going to go into feats of some kind. She is going to get an extra attack. And she's also going to get an Aura of Protection and an Aura of Courage. Whenever you are a friendly creature within 10 feet of you must make a saving throw, the creature gains a bonus to the saving throw equal to your Cha mod. And you must be conscious to grant this. Starting at 10th level, you and friendly creatures within 10 feet of you can't be frightened while you're conscious. That's pretty cool. We do get then improved Divine Smite by 11th level, and we're just shy of Cleansing Touch. But that's fine. Alright, that finishes our class features. And again, if you're watching this, if you're new here, or you're lurking, or maybe you just haven't made a paladin in a while, and you want me to go back and say, hey, so how does lay on hands specifically work? Let me know, because I just have these names down as placeholders, and I might touch on what it does in an abbreviated style, but I have no problem going back and scrolling to the section and reading it out loud, and we can have a talk about implementing it and what are good ways to develop it, something like that. Smite is nice for undead since it gets the extra d6. Yeah, yep. And some get extra bonus, not just against undead, but fiends also, so devils and demons. The Archetype. The Oath of Devotion binds a paladin to the loftiest ideals of justice, virtue, and order. Now, That said, she is chaotic good, though we can very much still work this into her story. Sometimes called cavaliers, white knights, or holy warriors, these paladins meet the ideal of the knight in shining armor, acting with honor in pursuit of justice and the greater good. They hold themselves to the highest standards of conduct, and some, for better or worse, hold the rest of the world to the same standards. Many who swear this oath are devoted to gods of law and good and use their gods' tenets as measures for their devotion. They hold angels, the perfect servants of good, as their ideals and incorporate images of angelic wings into their helmets or coats of arms. We have some tenets of devotion, honesty, courage, compassion, honor, and duty. 5x paladin level pool, yep. Yeah, that's yep, heal your party or cure their poison or sickness. Now, how can we take a chaotic good character and give them this oath of devotion? She becomes the paladin of random acts of kindness. She can wake up one day and say, you know what, today I am going to, here's my goal. And the goal is different day to day. And as she achieves this goal, she'll help people along the way. She'll tell people, hey, you know, you have a good day too, or do you need help with that? And that way she has this shifting mindset, and she's trying to put out little fires everywhere around her. But the focus changes day to day or on some other kind of a whim or a mental change. And so here she's good, she's doing good deeds. Now, of course, what is a good deed? And we had the whole conversation last night about the nature of evil, which is in a way a shadow reflection of good. But this is a way for us to be able to have a chaotic good paladin of a paladin of devotion. She helps for money. Well, she might help for money, though she probably passes most, if not all, of that money onto some other charitable organization. In fact, she might not even do it all for her order. She might say, I'll do it for money, and or, you know, if she thinks maybe I can get some money off of these people because they can't afford it. You know, again, we want to stay within generally good tenants. And she might pass it on to her order. She might pass it on to the local orphanage. She might pass it on to a soup kitchen, that kind of a thing. And so sometimes she'll get money for her deeds, sometimes she won't. And when she does, where does it go? Well, what is in her heart? Her heart is guiding her. And so she carries her devotion in her heart, but it's all over the place. So the rest of the party convinced her they are doing the right things. They're really going to have to, Dark Wolf. I had a Triton Devotion Paladin that used the Trident and did random acts of kindness for just the cause that it brought joy to people and that it made his deity happy. Oh, that's cool. Now, I haven't played with any of the Beastly races. I presume as a Triton you can, like, was it an underwater adventure storm, or can they live above water for some X amount of time? Alright, there's our oath spells. We are going to get, come here, a Sacred Weapon. As an action, you can imbue one weapon that you're holding with positive energy. We also, oh, this is our, I'm sorry, so this is technically our Channel Divinity. We can make a sacred weapon, or we can turn the Unholy, and that is the undead, or each fiend or undead. There we go. You know what's going to be interesting too? This character will probably face a lot of temptation to fall from her ideals with the people who are in the party. Good temptation ability here. Aura of Devotion. Starting at 7th level, you and friendly creatures within 10 feet of you can't be charmed while you're conscious. And she's not high enough yet to get Purity of Spirit. There we go. Loki says, trust me, if we kill this guy, everyone will be happier. He can breathe both air and water. Gain a +1 to strength, con, and charisma. Don't get dark vision though. They live in the depths of the ocean and they don't get dark vision. Well, maybe they don't need it, right? If they're more of a sound based, but not necessarily tremor sense kind of a thing. All right. Now we can get to work here. If she's super specializing and she's taking 3 feats, what if we do 13, 15, 14, 12, maybe swap this. Let's go 14 and 12, 10, and 8. Let me check something here. Oh, charisma is our spell casting. Well, maybe, I don't know. Maybe we could just take paladin spells that don't really, maybe she just channels her slots into her smites. You don't have to be a good spellcaster as a paladin. There are spells you get that just do things without needing to have a high charisma. Her casting mod will be rough at a 10. Well, it will, but again, if we're making her so that she's a smiter, then she's burning her spell slots anyway, in the form of an attack, and so her charisma itself isn't really. It's not going to be that important. Does that make sense, Storm? We are at +5 for proficiency. There we go. See, I played the smite spells, not the actual divine smite. Ah. So you needed a high cha? Well, why don't we keep her like this for now? I mean, we could take it as a challenge. How can we build her to be a smarty pants paladin and still have functional spells or things that she can use to cast? And if it doesn't work, if it turns out that it's like, then we could swap around some things. Nothing wrong with that. So then what I'll do, just as a note, we had originally 15, 8, 12, 14, 13, and 10, because this is going to allow us to put in our wisdom and our con. All right. Now, she is not a ritual caster, and that's a feat that we can take even. We can do something along those lines. Preparing and casting. Yep. Prepare it every day. We base it off of charisma. And the holy symbol is the focus. Yep. No, I get what you're saying for your build, Storm. You would need a high charisma in that instance. With this current build, let me do some quick math here. 2, 2, 0, minus 1. She had a higher charisma. I'd suggest inspiring leader as a feat. Yeah. But maybe, I don't know, she's kind of a library nerd, so she might not have hung out with a bunch of other people. We'll see what we get. Yeah, those temps are good. I have a paladin in my Sunday game who he passes those things out like, well, like they're a bunch of temp hit points you get for free. Alright, so this is her Hill Dwarf starting. She's going to get an extra 26 hit points for free because she has a Constitution 2 times her 13 levels up here. She's going to get a D10, a full D10 for her first level. And that means we have 12 times half plus 1 is how I do hit points. So we have 12 times 6. And so this is our formula. We're going to get from here 72. So now we're at 82. And so now we're at 108. And now we're at 111, 121. There we go. Yeah, bubonic. You know, unfortunately, it's not a dragonborn, but we have a beefy we have a beefy paladin. She's got some smarts in her, though. Look at this intelligence and look at this background up here. Now, okay, this is going to get cleared. We can do the skills in just a second. Paladin, spellcasting ability is Cha. We don't get cantrips as a paladin unless we take a, and we can take a feat because we get 3 feats to use on her. Unless we're going to take a feat, we don't get any cantrips. But we do get, at 13th level, 4, 3, 3, 1 for slots. 4, 3, 3, and 1. There we go. And we get a number of spells based on... Where are you? Here we go. You prepare a list of paladin spells that are available to you to cast, choosing from the paladin spell list. When you do so, choose a number of paladin spells equal to your charisma modifier plus half your paladin level rounded down. So she's not going to get as many with the current stat build that we have because we put 10 in charisma. So this is she's going to get 6 plus her bonus spells. Dwarven toughness, yep. Magic initiative. Paladins learn all spells but are prepped. Yep. No, you're fine. Don't worry about it, Storm. I don't. You're offering some extra little details and whatnot that I'm not. You are welcome to kind of like type or narrate or add your own commentary in the chat. I don't find it offensive. Oh no, you're helping people learn how to play D&D. Shame on you. This is what we get from our oath. Protection from evil and good. Sanctuary! Remember, I label these so we know where we're getting them, and I suggest you do something like this at home so you have a reference, or if your DM ever wanted to see your spell sheet and say, hey, you're a paladin, why can you cast that spell? I thought that's not on the list. You can say, well, it's not, but look, this is one of my oath spells. Lesser Restoration and Zone of Truth. You do the same thing, Storm? Yes, third-party verification! Yeah! Beacon of Hope. And Dispel Magic. Und then we have the freedom of movement and guardian of faith. There we go. Now, spells here are a little bit easy because she can vary her outside of her oath, and these do not count against her prepared spells. You can wake up as a paladin and say, "Oh no, I got to load up on something else," and you can change your spells prepared every morning, from day to day, and that gives you a little bit more flexibility than some of the other casting classes. So what we're going to do for this is conceptualize, if she wakes up on an average day, what would she have prepared? And go from there. Pardon me. Before we get there, real quick, because Storm is talking about some equipment. First things first, we have Chainmail, which is giving us a 16 armor class. And we do have disadvantage on stealth checks. And we come down to weapons. And Storm suggested, what if she's a spear and shield fighter? Nothing wrong with that. In fact, we might even be able to do... Not a pike. Oh, I guess great spears don't exist, or they've renamed it into something else. But yeah, we'll do a spear. Now, spears do have the thrown property. Thrown is the opposite of finesse, meaning that we can use strength when we're making a ranged attack. And then, of course, melee is normal, whereas with a finesse weapon, you normally make ranged attacks with dex, but you can make melee attacks with dex instead of strength. So in this case, she's going to be swinging with a +7. Javelins are going to be the same. Spears, 1d6 +4, right? Because we get the extra 2 damage if she's wielding it. And javelins are 1d6 also. There we go. We did. Dark Wolf said, I actually have a question about how preparing spells and learning spells, or how they worked in general. Okay, Bubonic, yeah, no difference with the 5e. Storm, what's the question? Since I was updating Soraya's spell list yesterday, basically how preparing and learning spells differ and such, and how it all works. She's a druid. Oh, well, she just said so. Yeah, she's a druid, Storm. If you want to give her some advice, please feel free to. And, of course, Dark Wolf, I can go to druid on the PHB here as well. If you still have questions, while I'm getting, all the little things taken care of here. And while we do this, let's come down to spells and go over to Paladin spells. We're looking for things that don't necessarily have to use her low charisma. I will be flashing back and forth here if that is a bother for anyone's eyes, or if you're prone to headaches. detect poison and disease since she's kind of an anti-poison and disease person. Only 6. We should probably drop in a 4th level here real quick. Aura of Life, Aura of Purity, or Staggering Smite. Maybe. Let's check out these auras. Aura of Life, Aura of Purity. Resistance to necrotic damage and its hit point maximum can't be reduced. In addition, a non-hostile living creature regains 1 hit point when it starts its turn within the aura. That's pretty good. Aura of Purity, purifying energy radiates from you. Till the spell ends, the aura moves with you, centered on you. Each non-hostile creature in the aura can't become diseased, has resistance to poison damage, and has advantage on saving throws against effects that cause any of the following conditions: blinded, charmed, deafened, frightened, paralyzed. These are good in combat, and these are also good for her role-playing, right? She activates this aura for 10 minutes and walks through, a slum, and people feel a little bit better. They don't cough as hard. Some of their wounds that might have been infected heal up a little bit. Way back on that 24/7 D&D character grind. Well, it's not 24/7, but we're creating the last party member for our campaign that we're making this week. And she's a very interesting paladin from how we rolled her up. Okay, so Storm was helping Dark Wolf. Branding Smite and Banishing Smite don't require a DC and work off of a weapon attack. I think Banishing is a 5th. Storm is also saying Crusaders Mantle. Dark Wolf is getting some clarification. Basically, I should have all the spells written down on the sheet, but only have a certain number selected for the day. Yeah, so as a druid, Dark Wolf, all the druid spells are always available to you, but you can only prepare X amount of them on any given day. Yes, Bubonic. So we have a party of 4 females and 1 male. Let's see, Storm suggested putting on the Crusaders Mantle as a spell. Let's go to that real quick. Holy power radiates from you in an aura within a 30-foot radius, awakening boldness in friendly creatures. Until the spell ends, the aura moves with you, centered on you. While in the aura, each non-hostile creature in the aura, including you, takes an extra, or deals an extra 1d4 radiant damage when hits with a weapon attack. That's pretty good too. So 1, 2, we have 3 spells, and so now there are 3 remaining for us to choose. And there was a smite that Storm had suggested. It was Branding Smite and Banishing Smite. Let's go to those real quick. Branding is a 2nd, and there's Banishment. Oh, Banishing Smite is a 5th. Yeah, she doesn't quite have that yet. But let's look at the Branding Smite. Here we go. The next time you hit a creature with a weapon attack before the spell ends, the weapon gleams with astral radiance as you strike. The attack deals an extra 2d6 radiant damage to the target, which becomes visible if it's invisible, and the target sheds dim light in a 5-foot radius and can't become invisible until the spell ends. And we'll throw that in there. That's a 2nd level. There we go. I think that'll be really good because Lokiadius here, I think we gave him invisibility, and so if he starts doing sneaky stuff, she can say no, bad. Etherealness. I thought I gave him greater invisibility. Maybe I didn't. 1, 2, 3, 4. We get 2 more spells for our Paladin. Some suggestions. Oh, Quay says, I don't know if it's just me, but the ambient music seems a little louder than your voice sometimes. Well, here, if that's the case, Quay, I can bring it down a little bit, and hopefully that will alleviate that problem. I rely on you guys for feedback regarding that because I don't have the same audio as I'm broadcasting. I'm not hearing what you're hearing, and so it's important that you let me know if something sounds like it could use a tweak. You found a Forgotten Realms god that fits the spear, but it's going to be hard to explain how a dwarf follows an ancient elven goddess. Yep, no problem, Hui. Thank you for letting me know about it. Alright, so Storm said Crusaders Mantle. Alright, Storm is suggesting Aura of Vitality, which, right? Oh, that's Aura of Purity. Aura of Vitality is another 3rd, so we can throw that in there as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We get one more spell. Now, we didn't take something like Cure Wounds. She has Lay on Hands, and I'm almost imagining that this Paladin says, look, I get everything that I need from my faith. You know, she doesn't have to project her faith out. The faith is giving her these gifts, and therefore she is an agent in that regard. She's not a pass-through entity. She's the stop point for power. It's granting her these things, and she can just use Lay on Hands. Why cast a cure spell when I can just use my Lay on Hands? It's a gift that's been given to me. Oh, did I? Oh, yeah, I did. One more thing. Well, we could always give her Find Steed. That is a very classic paladin, very classic paladin spell. But if this is an any given day spell suite, she probably wouldn't need Find Steed just to wake up on any given day. She's already getting Lesser Restoration. Maybe Aid. Maybe Thunderous or Wrathful Smite. Find Greater Steed. That'd be something else, wouldn't it? Oh, here we go. Create food and water. She's doing good deeds. She wakes up, she goes through the slums, creating this magical food, handing it out to people, helping others. You go through the same process for long-term, more specific NPCs. I do not. This is what these characters are. I have to there we go. What these characters are exercises in storytelling and going through the process of character creation. So we're addressing mechanics and crunch, and we're also supplementing it with the fluff of who this character is. Let's think of characters on the fly. How can we connect two things that seem very disjointed from each other? And how can we make a solid line between the two? And then another line, and another line, and another line, and suddenly we have a shape, and then we fill in the shape, and then we color the shape. and now we have something that's greater than just a couple numbers that were written down. Oh yeah, Storm. As you said, you were a Smite spell paladin. Bubonic says it's a goddess of females, though. Angharada. Seems like how you might pronounce that. Okay, 4th level. Yep, find greater steed. We got there. Then Hui. Babika says, honestly, the classes are kind of too limiting for NPCs. Most NPCs don't have a lot of magic, but there are only 3 non-magic classes. Yeah, I mean, you could have a lot of magical NPCs. They just don't use it as often as the PCs themselves will, for various reasons. If everyone in town knew that the mayor could cast friends and mind-altering magic, he might not be too popular, because everyone could question, is he getting into my brain? Meanwhile, an adventurer, even a good adventurer, a good aligned adventurer, rolls into a town. What does he or she care? And I'm going to cast friends, or alter self, or do all these other things. And so NPCs have different roles in the world than PCs. And so many might have magic, they just don't always use it, or they don't use it the same way as PCs would. Angharad. Ah, okay. So, here we go. We are almost finished with this Dwarven Paladin. She does need 2 other languages, and I think Darkwolf made a couple suggestions. I think one of these should be Gnomish, because it is also based on the Dwarven script. And that is a popular language in the region. I almost want to say Elven should be the other one. Especially because High Elves are rulers of the one area of Mesotopia. And that would be maybe more of an elegant language, something that would reflect her learning. Shed. Celestial for praying? Maybe. Celestials haven't necessarily been something that has been brought up. We could give her Celestial. Nothing necessarily wrong with that. It's good to consider, because oftentimes it's just, oh, well, Infernal seems common enough because we have Tieflings. We'll do that. She's a smarty. And she's also very devout, right? Because we've said that my faith gives me all the tools that I need. Infernal would make sense in Mesomasca. You know, in a broad sense, but Tieflings are not a majority. I mean, we're talking Halflings and Gnomes are a majority. Hopefully King's not in here to hear this, otherwise he's going to have a heart attack of some kind. She is going to need some kind of a compelling letter as part of her background. Now, as the background says, oh, it's a letter from a dead companion, sort of with the last question that he wanted to solve before he died, but he died before that could happen. And what is this legacy, or what is the secret? What is the Gordian knot that we have to unravel? Bubonic's going into a little bit of Forgotten Realms lore. We need 3 feats. We're going to go to Chapter 6 for that. Now, if she's keeping auras up, I would almost recommend, and because she has a good constitution, I would almost recommend we go to Warcaster. That to me almost seems like an automatic one, right? If she's going to be frontlining, she wants to cast with a sword and board in hand. She wants to keep her concentration spells up. I think something like that would come in very handy for her. Yep, Warcaster's on there, Storm. We could also give her skilled. That could be very interesting. 3 skills or tools of our choice. What might also be interesting, Shieldmaster could be open. However, we could give her also ritual. ritual caster. So that this way she can learn rituals. Because she will get a ritual book and can now have access to some spells. Playing a Mage Slayer could be very interesting if she wants to go up and try and put down a magical foe of some kind. Storm is thinking tough. Your hit point maximum increases by an amount equal to twice your level when you gain this feat. Whenever you gain a level thereafter, your hit point maximum increases by an additional 2. So that would give her an extra 26 HP right off the bat there. I think if we could find something to give her maybe a +1 strength, that would be good. So maybe like Athlete could be a good one as well. When you're prone, standing up only uses 5 feet. Climbing doesn't have your speed. And we can make a running long jump or a running high jump after moving only 5 feet. That would also bump up our strength and bump up our attack and damage. Charger could be interesting too. Bubonic, how dare you deny my duel? So yeah, in your own way, Storm, you are #1 in that category. Ooh, this could be a good one too. Heavy Armor Master. Increase your strength score by 1 to a maximum of 20, and while you're wearing heavy armor, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage that you take from non-magical weapons is reduced by 3. That's so this is kind of like getting extra HP. And this would also, so this is kind of like taking tough, and it would increase our strength. So Storm, anyone else out there watching, this would be my argument to have one of her feats be Heavy Armor Master. Not only will we get an ability score increase, but we'll get DR while she's in her heavy armor. And she will be most of the time. At least at the active time. I mean, what can you do if someone kind of sneaks in and cuts your throat? Storm agree? Okay. Uh-oh, Dark Wolf is going into the plains for the first foray of the evening. You need a 10 or greater. You attack it with advantage with a +2. 17 and 1. There you go. Nice. On a plate mail Eldritch Knight. Linguist could be interesting on her as well. And also, I would still say that we could give her skilled. That could be interesting. We can give her 3 more skills, or we could actually give her 2 skills and access or proficiency with alchemy tools and not just brewer supplies. And if we did that, let's see, she has decent intelligence. Although we could give her like athletics, and then we could give her investigation, something along those lines. We could give her... She has Arcana. Really, she has all the intelligence. It would just be maybe something additional on the wisdom side of things. But if we did this, let's kind of do the, let's act out the thought experiment. Whoop. Skilled. We could go Alchemist tools, and then give her 2 here. So something like investigation and athletics. Darkwolf, on the heels of her victory, is taking a saunter into the forest. I'm sorry, Storm is also going into a dungeon here. Let me resolve Storm first. He triggered a pitfall. You attack normally with a +2. Storm, so if you're attacking normally, just roll a 1d20 instead. It's not really going to matter because you're going to defeat it on this time. You're going to get 300 EXP for it. There we go. Darkwolf goes into the forest, 12 or greater, normally with a +2. She rolls 12, and there you go. Actually, instead of investigation, she'd probably take nature, especially if she's an alchemy person or she does a lot of brewing. Knowing about the species of plants and how they interact would probably make a little bit more sense for her character. So you may have more EXP, Bubonic, but in all fairness, if you look, Storm has a nice golden star next to his name with a 1 on it. Okay, we're about finished with her. Only a little bit more left to do, and then I'll end up taking a quick break, and we'll come back and we'll talk about making a compelling player character. Darkwolf is continuing her climb, going into the dungeon now. After starting in the plains, going into the forest, she finds a dungeon in the forest. You need a 12 or greater. Does she do it? She has disadvantage 14 and 8. Oh, and she falls in the dungeon. Dark as bat food. Dex. Oh, yep. Oh, there we go. Shadzar's thrown in the mix here. Get your green on. Darkwolf gets a res, and you come back as a male Tabaxi Warlock. I think Tabaxi have tails? I forget offhand. I think they do? There we go. We have a character. All she needs now is a name and some basic physical description for what she looks like and how she carries herself. So these are things to think about, you know, all of you out there in Chatland, as we've made. So here we have a female Hill Dwarf Paladin, a Paladin of Devotion. She is a duelist. She's aggressive with her weapons. She is a spear and shield fighter. Her personality is such: I'm convinced that people are always trying to steal my secrets, And she uses polysyllabic words that convey the impression of great erudition. In other words, she goes out of her way to try and sound like a smarty pants. She does seek knowledge as an ideal. The path to power and self-improvement is through it. My life's work is a series of tomes related to a specific field of lore, and I'm easily distracted by the promise of information. She is a sage with a specialty in alchemy. And we did go and give her proficiency with alchemist tools and brewer supplies. If we look at her score, at her scores here, she does have a higher, like an above average intelligence, especially for a lot of paladins, and a decent wisdom. I mean, so she has a solid. She's good in strength, and she's solid in a lot of other areas. And then we kind of gave her a general spell suite around her oath spells. But the spells themselves don't really matter too much. This is just the random selection of she wakes up on any given day, what would she have prepared? And usually these are things that can help out people who are around her. Right? While she is she has taken the Oath of Devotion, which is more the lawful good, like I have these tenets of faith that I need to help people. Her chaotic background is, I'm going to set a goal today and do a random act of kindness along the way to meeting that goal. I'm going to help people that I see along the way. I don't know who they'll be, so I'll be ready to help anyone. Are they diseased? Are they poisoned? You know, what's going on there? Instead of just saying, oh, I'm going to go, cure the sick. Well, she can cure the sick. She can expel poison. She can, provide resistance to necrotic damage, which can have some roleplay effects. And so she's just kind of day to day, her heart changes. Her heart is in a good place, but it leads her in all these different directions, and she's still following the tenets of her faith. Isn't that perfect? As a tail. Oh, they do. It's so fluffy. A male, so yes, a tail. Jeez, Shad. Tabaxi has wares if you have coin. The Khajiit are the cat people in Elder Scrolls, aren't they? All right, so I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna go AFK for 5 to 10 minutes. I'm gonna take the Sonic hat off and let my head cool down. Yes, Shad, that. And then I'll be back in a little bit. I might get some, I might get some nachos or something, or not nachos, but some chips and dip. I have a really good salsa that I can get into. I still have some more raspberry tea. Actually, it's raspberry green tea. Good stuff. We'll go from there, and we'll talk about PCs afterwards.